Hey, this is me building a $3 million a year business and documenting every step. I start every one of these videos off as some YouTube comment Q&A. That's just to give you guys some value right off the bat. And then also it grows my channel because every time you guys leave a comment on my channel, it tells the algo that how great I am. Then I do some building and strategizing in public before finally doing some growth stats across YouTube, Instagram, and my products. So if you don't know who I am, this is the main channel here at 169.6K subs. This channel here that I'm talking to you guys on behalf of is just my daily updates channel where I just give you guys some quick Q&A. It helps me because I get to learn the questions that my audience is suffering from. It also helps me because I don't just have to make videos on the same topic that got my initial channel so big. And then, yeah, it's fun. You know, I help people with problems that they're suffering from on a daily basis. So if you want me to help you with one of yours, just ask a question at the bottom of any one of these daily updates videos, and then I'll do so. Leonid Photobs, who is in Maker School, welcome Leonid, says, my question, how often should I follow up in Upwork apps? Every day, every 2 days? What script or principles or texting should I use? Big reply rate and have 10 dial, but they convert in calls very bad. Should I offer call in the first message when clients text me, or what's the strategy? Thank you in advance. Health stuff's really important, but when you're healthy, you're not thinking about it too much unless something shitty happens. I think he's commenting on what I was mentioning in the video. You're 100% right. So here's the strategy. You should follow up every 24 to 48 hours with anybody that replies to you on any one of these platforms. Don't follow up anymore, simply because you'll seem quite desperate. These platforms are made to give people a ton of options. And so some people take that approach to mean, oh, I need to follow up every hour or so. I've tried doing this and it just hasn't worked. So in this case, I've always been of the mind that, you know, like less is more in many cases. I don't try and close people directly on a call because it's high pressure. Likewise, I also don't like follow up with people every hour or two, like some people would recommend. 24 to 48 hours is fine. In terms of the script or principles that I would use, every single time that somebody sends you a message on Upwork, freelancer.com, Fiverr, whatever, my sole goal is getting them on a call with me. That's all I care about. Okay. Just like every time I send a cold email, my sole goal is getting them to open the cold email. So it's just a game at every point. You're just trying to optimize for the next step. And the reason why is because when you're in a call with them, calls transcend this text stuff. I mean, how much text does a person consume a day? How much information, how many bits do they consume? If you get them on a call, the bandwidth of a call is so high that just like proportionally speaking, in terms of the amount of information they're consuming in a given day, you are now like the vast majority of it anytime you get on a call. I know it's a kind of an odd way to think about it, but it's how I've always thought about it. So calls are just what you do. And then if you know what you're talking about, and I imagine you do if you're in Maker School and I've helped get you to the point where you're a good consultative salesperson, you will go leagues beyond all of the other calls that they may have had for that service, which is why we optimize for it. Okay, so what does that mean? At the end of every message, you should always be asking for a call. So let's say somebody replies to your initial message, then they're saying, hey, Leonid, thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah, we're looking for X, Y, and Z. Just a quick question, what sort of tools would we use? How long do you think this would take? You would say, hey, Pete, really appreciate getting back to me. For sure, let me answer those questions for you. Just at the top of my head, I'm thinking we'd use this and this, although there are some questions I have that would influence how I scope this. And then two, I've done very similar projects here, and they've usually lasted about a week or two. Again, I would want more information to really be able to confidently tell you that. Speaking of which, would you be open to a quick 15-minute call sometime today or tomorrow? By the end of the call, I could give you answers to all these questions, and I could 100% guarantee that you'd have everything you needed in order to move forward with the project, whether or not it's me or somebody else. I'm free at this time, or this time. If you let me know one of these times, I can send over the Upwork call booking thing, and we can get to it. Let me know. Have a lovely rest of the day. You use some variant of this on every message. They get back to you. They're like, hey, Leonid, sorry about that. I'm not 100% sure I can jump on a call today, but thank you very much. I had a follow-up question, X, Y, and Z. You say, hey, for sure. Yeah, X, Y, and Z. Awesome. Thank you. Great. If that doesn't work, then how about we book tomorrow at 8:15? I'm free at whatever time. I can also make whatever other time work. Really appreciate it. Let me know. Thank you. Every single time that you have any sort of contact with them, your whole goal is just get them to the call over and over and over and over and over again. Because if you don't get them on the call, they're as good as lost, okay? Hopefully that's what you have already internalized from Maker School, because I believe you asked this question in Maker School as well. But if it wasn't clear for everybody else that's watching, that is what you should do. Okay, hey Nick, really appreciate you and your work. Do you have recommendations for finding a good and affordable video editor? I was really lucky because I had a channel and I had distribution. And when you have distribution, you can just ask the people that watch your videos, hey, could somebody here edit my videos? And then the people that say yes typically like you a lot. They respect you. They obviously enjoy your content, idolize you to some extent. So it's very, very easy to like assemble a good high quality team of video editors and then train them up and so on and so forth. In my case, I just made a post on the YouTube community post saying, hey, anybody a video editor here that wants to work with me, just submit an example. And then they did. Regardless, if you don't have that distribution, you can still get a video editor. You just have to use jobs platforms like Indeed, Upwork, and so on and so forth. And I'd always recommend that you force people before they work with you to do something. So have them submit an application. That application might link to a portfolio. You take a look at the portfolio, you check the ones that are okay. Now you shortlist 10. And to 10, I have systems for this, but you could do this manually. You send an email and you say, hey, really like your stuff, love your portfolio. Would you be open to doing a quick trial piece? I'll pay you $25. X, Y, and Z are the description of the task. Get out there and do it within 48 hours. And if that makes sense, send me an email. I can send me an invoice that I can send money to. If you do it this way, you are going to spend a little bit upfront on the trials, but you are going to get significantly more clarity on the skill level of people. And if you think about it, like a $25 or $50 trial fee or whatnot saves you so much money in working with a shitty person down the line. I don't just take this approach to editors. I take this approach to everybody. Hopefully that makes sense. Agent Z gives me a bunch of hearts. Inosuke, hey, what's going on? Demon Slayer. POV, how entrepreneurs feel after working 90 hours a week for 6 months, making $0 just to avoid a 9 to 5. Oh my God, tell me about it. Yeah, brutal. He's referencing me going door to door for like a good 3 months of my career and just like hating every minute of my life. It's not that I hated every minute of my life, actually. That's a lie. It's not that I hated it. It's just that it was extraordinarily difficult. I made like $7 at the end of 3,000 door knocks, basically. It was very, very difficult. Yeah, I didn't hate it, but it was very difficult. And I was doing it in some way because I had a big chip on my shoulder. I wanted to avoid a 9 to 5. The funniest thing is this ended up landing me in a 9 to 5 because I just couldn't hack it. So funnily enough, all roads eventually lead to success. It's just a matter of how circuitous they are. Mine was quite circuitous. It's crazy how you remind me of a much younger but already mature version of Hormozy. Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Beyblade Knights 1223. Manoj Vishnu. Gives me a heart, thank you. Blue Jay Pixel says, hey Nick, been looking at an AI automation agency and had a few questions. I've been in the AI automation space for 6 years, Microsoft ecosystem, 5 years as a full-time employee, and then the last year as a contractor. Right now I make $20K a month contracting with IT consulting services and firms using the Microsoft stack under my registered corp. If I start an AI automation agency solo, how different would that be from what I'm doing now? So it's under your registered corp. If you start it solo, how different would that be? I don't think that's different at all. That sounds to me the exact same thing that you are doing. It is your registered corp, right? You starting an AI automation agency solo, I don't mean like become a sole proprietor or an independent contractor or 1099 or whatever. I just mean like provide services as a person. Yeah, this sounds good. Is the registered corp the full-time employee? Not entirely sure. But anyway, yeah, this is fine. It's the same thing. What you are doing right now is exactly the business model that I am recommending people. Microsoft 365-based companies are my niche, so my target would probably be them. This is where I have the most experience and authority. I could pick up Maker and Aiden if needed. Does that ICP make sense? Yes, no issues here whatsoever. All ICPs, honestly, make sense. It's just a matter of can you deliver to them scalably. It sounds like you can if you're making $20,000 a month and you haven't even really looked into the business model so much. When doing cold outreach, is to find a link to my personal LinkedIn instead of an agency website. LinkedIn has a lot of social proof, and I can't put past client work on the website because of NDAs. Yes, most certainly. Most certainly. I think that in your case, just make sure you're not linking them in like any sort of first outbound email and you'll be fine. Yeah, and just make sure your LinkedIn is as optimized as possible. Given all that, what's the main benefit of joining Maker School if you're not looking for automation, templates, tools, referrals, or to learn Maker and Aiden? If you're not looking for any of these things, I don't think there is much of a main benefit aside from just breaking some limiting beliefs. But it doesn't sound like you have too many limiting beliefs if you're already making $20,000 a month. That's what most people's goals are in Maker School. They want to make, $200,000 to $300,000 a year with like a lifestyle business that enables them to fulfill this with, just a few hours a day of work. So yeah, I mean, like, is there a main benefit to you? Obviously the benefits will be that you can ask me questions like this and get a turnaround within 24 hours as opposed to 5, 6, 7 days. But yeah, I don't know. The main value prop is not really for you. I would say the main value prop is, and it depends on your goals. You haven't really mentioned any of your goals, but main value prop for you would just be, networking and then getting access to me. That's about it. Most people want all of these. They want to learn Maker and Aiden. They want tool referrals. They want automation templates. They want to learn how to sell, which it sounds like you already know how to do. They want to get their first customer. They want support because, it's a very emotionally tumultuous path. Doesn't sound like you need that much help with this, that much help with that, that much help with that. You definitely don't need these. So what's left? Me and the network of 2,600 other people, which, this is quite valuable, I think, to the right person. But keep in mind that not all 2,600 of them are making this much money. Probably the average earnings in Maker School is like $2,000 a month or something. If you look at the top person, you look at the lowest person, and then you do the math. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Harshit gives me some hearts. Thank you. Alexandri says, hey, Nick. Thanks for what you do. I appreciate how honest and real your content is. I want to ask for some advice. You often say that $10,000 is like being a caveman hitting a hammer. But how do I know if I'm hitting the hammer right? After getting hyped on social media, I thought starting an AI agency was easy. Did it for 3 months, no results, spent a lot of money, decided to stop. How much is a lot of money, if we're being honest here? Now I'm just doing Upwork freelance, which is not as sexy as an agency, of course, bidding for email setup projects. I'm not really that experienced, and I always ask myself a question: should I spend some time looking for projects, or should I learn the skill first? Maybe a combo. Not looking to get rich fast anymore. I want more in the long term, and so I'd really like to hear what you think. Thank you. Well, my first thought is you should try and anchor what a lot of money means. Very different to different people, right? AI automation agencies, the way that I pitch them anyway, are like the lowest barrier to entry, lowest capital cost business model that basically anybody can start nowadays. And it's the same thing as like website design agencies back in the late 90s or early 2000s. It's the same thing as like social media marketing agencies back in like the early 2010s, right? All this stuff was like super low barrier to entry. That's why so many people flooded into it. So a lot of money here probably just means a few $100s. And I would keep in mind that like any business that you start that is not in this vertical is going to cost you much more than a few $100s in order to get up and running with over a 3-month period. So you should keep that in mind, right? You're going to have to spend money to make money regardless of whatever you do. Now, in terms of AI automation specifically, you're bidding for email setup projects. Okay. Are there other things that you can bid on? You not being experienced is not a matter of time. It only takes a couple of weeks to get to a point of proficiency with any tool where somebody is willing to pay you money to save themselves the time of having to do the thing. So should you spend time looking for projects or learn the skill well first, maybe a combo? I would do a combination for sure. What I recommend in Maker School is we have some introductory automation agency tutorials. You make it to the end of the automation agency tutorials, now you have foundational knowledge. You still don't really know how to like build a specific project, but that's all you need. You need the 80-20. You need to get to a point where like you understand how to read the language. Okay. And once you read the language, you can communicate with AI, you could use Google, and then you could find out the answer to any specific question because you now understand the language. Don't worry about knowing how to do everything right now. The number one question you need to answer is there a future version of Oleg, I believe, or Alex that can solve this in the next couple of weeks? And the answer to that question, Alex, is almost always yes. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Matthew says, Nick, on Instantly, I seem to be getting a decent positive reply rate, but once I follow up, I never hear from them again. I make an effort to reply within the first few minutes and do multiple follow-ups. Any tips? As you just say something nice, then give a few times for a call. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you reply within a few minutes? Are you making an effort to reply within a few minutes? It's not necessarily mean you do reply within a few minutes, right? So let's just clarify. If you're replying within a few minutes, we can check that out. So speed to lead is done. Let's see. And do multiple follow-ups. Any tips? I just say something nice and give them a few times to call. So you like acknowledge them. That's good. You say thank you very much for getting back to me. And then you give them a few times. What is a few times? Don't just give them a few times. Okay, what you want to do is you want to give them a few times. Then you also want to give them your calendar. And you also want to ask them for their cal. You basically want to give them all the information they need to never, ever let this be a point of friction if they get back to you. Hey, Pete, thanks so much for getting back to me. Yeah, sure. Here's the answer to that question that you asked in a very nice and pleasant and amazing way that makes you like me, but still want more. Would love to chat. Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. or Wednesday at 4 p.m. work for you. I can also do Thursday and Friday at this time and this time. If neither of these work, please send me over your calendar. I'll be happy to book according to your schedule. I'll make something happen. And just for convenience, here's a link to mine. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to getting back to you or something. You're literally hitting them on literally every spot, every single spot. Okay. All right, let's do one more. Azim says, thanks for consistently dropping free value for us. Wanted to ask an important question. Started my YouTube channel 3 months ago and having it is cool and all, but your idea that Outbound is better from a sales perspective and overall than Inbound got me intrigued. I have no problem with putting in the hours on my YouTube channel, but appreciate an explanation of how and why Outbound is better. I'm looking to get as much leverage as possible. Thanks again. Well, there's so much here that I need to unpack, I think, in order to get you to the point where you understand this. I'm not saying this to shit on you, but there's just so much. You're mentioning that like as much leverage as possible is your goal, but Inbound is significantly higher leverage than Outbound when you have distribution. You just don't have distribution. You also mentioned that it's better from a sales perspective. I wasn't saying that it's better from a sales perspective. I was saying the point in the video I was making was that at your point in the journey, Outbound is much, much straighter line path to making money than Inbound. And you mentioned overall, it's not overall better than Inbound. If it was overall better than Inbound, I would not be driving the vast majority of my traffic through Inbound right now, right? So I think we just need to take a step back and we just need to like look at look at these fellas here, okay? Inbound, okay? 99% inbound. You think they're sending cold email campaigns? They are, but it's 99% inbound right now. School, 99% inbound. They're running ads and funnels and stuff like that. So what it is it's a distribution. Okay. Let's see, distribution, then outbound to inbound sort of graph. So if you have zero distribution, the optimal thing to do is inbound. As your distribution grows, outbound. As your distribution grows, okay, you get more audience members and stuff like that, then you move to inbound, okay? This is more or less what the optimal way to play it. So in your case, you can also call this money, honestly. Distribution, money, hell, you can just call this power. Who the fuck cares? If we just boil away all the complexity here. When you have no power, no distribution, and no money, outbound is the straightest line path because you are just going directly to a person in a market of one and saying, hey, I know you suffer from XYZ problem. I am uniquely qualified to solve this problem for you at this price. I'm going to generate a massive return on investment. I'm even going to go as far as guaranteeing a thing. Say yes. And they're going to more than often say yes. If you try inbound strategies at this point, as opposed to outbound, what you're doing is you're basically saying, hey, how's it going? I'm really qualified to solve this problem. Keep in mind that there's a billion other people going like, hey, how's it going? I'm really qualified to solve this problem. Hey, how's it going? Hey. Imagine somebody in a town square just shouting versus you going directly up to somebody and saying, hey, I've been following you for the better part of the last X, Y, and Z years. I know all about your business, blah, blah, blah. I want to help you. Obviously, outbound's going to work better than inbound, right? But as you go up the distribution, money, and power ladder, you acquire more followers, you acquire more success, you have more money. So you can do things like ad funnels and stuff like that. Then the optimal strategy changes, okay? And then the optimal strategy moves from outbound to inbound. Why? Because you have distribution, money, power, you have scale, and the optimal point of leverage changes. And when you're at, I'm probably, if I just like think about myself pragmatically, I'm like over here right now or something. There's still a ways to go. But the vast majority of my stuff right now is inbound, and it's probably going to continue being inbound. Okay? So hopefully that helps anchor my thoughts on the subject. Really appreciate that question. I thought that it's probably going to help some people on their money-making journey. What's going on with me? Not much. Good Sunday. Wearing the school sweater. I got this. And I was just showing it to my girlfriend, and then I like immediately poured a bunch of yogurt on it while I was having my parfait. And I was like, shit. So then I had to like wash it. And then anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is I really like these sweaters. They're really soft. I don't know what the hell they use on the inside of them, but oof. Just like wake up and I'm cold. I just want to put on a school sweater. So nice job, guys. Nice job to the school team. Things are going well. Yeah, things are going really well on the Maker School front. Things are going well on the life optimization front. Hitting the gym today. Did some heavy rack pulls yesterday. That was pretty fun. I'm well on my way to gaining a bunch of weight. I think I've gained like 2.5 pounds of water weight now. Probably like another like 0.5 pound of muscle since I started this big retrospective thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check my blog out. I want to be huge, man. Something about seeing Alex Hormozi in person makes you just realize how small and pathetic you really are. So yeah, that's a big thing. The rest of the business is going well. Yeah, we've come out to over $400,000 a month in revenue $400,000 in the month of July for revenue. So I think it's like 405, 406. I believe in June we made 408. So technically I've plateaued my revenue since last month. I have yet to grow more meaningfully. And the question to me is, do I want to grow more? How much more do I want to grow if I do? Am I willing to grow less if it means that I get more time back to do things that are more important to me? And then where the hell do I want to take the rest of my business journey in general? One really cool thing that I realized when I was at that event, which I initially didn't want to go to, but now I'm realizing that it was one of the more valuable things that I could have done, was that, when I saw this man in front of me on my right and this other man on my left, both these prolific business gurus, I just realized that, I can totally have both of those dreams. I could totally do both of these things if I wanted to. It's just a matter of time and applied effort. So it was cool seeing that like final limiting belief really break, where it was like, maybe there's something magical that these two are doing that I'm not. And it's like, no. I understand the way that these guys think for the most part. And I understand that everything is just a matter of applied time and effort, clearly as evidenced by the revenue that I've been generating, not to toot my own horn. So yeah, that's pretty fun, huh? Glad I got to break that limiting belief as well. Now let's do some brand stats. This is my main channel. I started tracking February 1st, 2025 at 46K subs. Now we are going way down here to August. So let's go back here, refresh this, 169,614. Looks like I've grown by 660 in the last 24 hours. We're now going to do the same thing on my daily updates channel. Then I'm also, while I'm doing that, waiting for this, I'll do another tracker. 10,731. I'm growing by 135. And my Instagram's 296,901. So we are very, very close to 300,000, which is going to be pretty cool. If I scroll all the way up here, I want to show you guys this. I used to be tracking my YouTube growth versus my Instagram growth. OGs will remember. Instagram started way lower than YouTube, obviously. There was an inflection point where they met about 60K, and Instagram has since moved far past that. I think I'm going to extend the hell out of this graph because realistically, my Instagram is now way the hell here, and then my YouTube is like, well, I guess it's about half of it. It's like right over here. So maybe I'll do like some fun tracking stuff just to show you guys how valuable it has been having all this information. I don't know. But anyway, I'm at the 20-minute mark, which is the new limit that I'm setting for daily updates, so I don't spend 45 hours responding to questions like I normally do. Really appreciate it. If you guys have anything that you want to know, just ask it at the bottom as a comment on any one of my daily updates videos, and I'll answer it. Really appreciate your time. Have a lovely rest of the day, guys. Bye.